What is up, guys? I know it has been a fat minute. Don't come for me. I know it's literally been 4 months since I uploaded a podcast on this channel. So I just don't want to make any excuses. I just want to briefly say I'm back and I'm better than ever. I did take a little break, which I didn't mean to take this long of a break. I have been still posting regularly on like my Instagram, my other social media, just on this channel. I had took a break from it, and time flies by when you're just having fun and living life. But I'm back and I'm better than ever. So I just really want to thank you guys who are still watching and still supporting this podcast channel. I have a lot in store which I could sit here and explain about, but I'm just going to show you guys because actions do speak louder than words. So this is going to be podcast episode 8. So without further ado, let's jump on into this podcast and introduce our very special guest. Okay guys, so I have a guest with me that you guys are going to be very familiar with, and he has been on this podcast before. So I want to introduce, well, I'm sure you guys know him, but for those of you who don't know him, my boyfriend Gabriel.
What's up, everybody?
How does it feel? How are you doing? Even though I know how are you doing, because I mean clearly we live together, we were just setting this up together. But for those of you that are curious, how are you doing? How have you been? What's new?
I'm good. Been chilling, been working.
Per usual. Period. Like, why can't the bag just chase me?
Right?
Honestly. So you guys, like I mentioned before, this is episode 8 of the Chatty Quiz podcast, and we're just gonna jump right on into it. So for this episode, I feel like I've been getting a lot of questions because, like I mentioned, I do have my YouTube channel, which is my name, CHRIS Huizar, and I post a lot of videos literally there is so many videos of my daily life and daily routine, and clearly my boyfriend is part of my life, so he is in a lot of my videos
there, y'all.
And getting pranked from just all that stuff. And a lot of people always ask, like, how do you guys do it, like, as far as like relationships and arguments and just all that stuff. So I was like, you know what, that'd be a good podcast episode. So today we're going to be jumping into that and just talking about relationships from our point of view and our perspective, because I mean everyone is different at the end of the day and everyone goes through different things and different scenarios. So we're just going to give you some feedback from like what we have been through and what we've learned through over the years. Because how long have we been together, babe? Let's test them.
We've been together for 4 years.
Yeah, and I don't know about y'all, but that's kind of a long time.
That is a pretty long time.
Like, I don't know about y'all, but where my ring at? Where the fuck my ring at? But you guys, so yeah, I want to jump in on like what?
Princess eating the seeds that fell from my hand.
I'm weak. He's eating what are they called?
Pumpkin seeds.
Yeah, because why?
Because I made them, y'all. If y'all follow us on Instagram and whatnot, y'all seen that we did this like the
pumpkin head challenge.
Yeah, so I took out
I posted a video on my YouTube channel. That's why if you don't follow my YouTube channel or my social medias, follow that, because there's more like every day. If not, that's fine. If you just want to be here for the podcast and the advice / cheese man, then so be it. So I feel like with relationships, like he mentioned, we've been together for 4 years, 4 consecutive years. Within that time though, we did take a break. How many months was it? I think like 2.5, maybe.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, like a 2.5 month break. And that break we just didn't live together. Like, we would still see, it was so weird, like we still saw each other, all that. We were just in a state of mind where we just needed a break because like yeah, and that's normal because why we both worked from home. We were seeing each other every freaking day.
COVID, and it was just the whole shutdown, seeing each other every day, all day.
Yup, and like we would literally argue over the littlest things, like when like
look at me wrong, I breathe wrong, you breathe, like it was just a mess.
Like, why did you leave that sock on the floor, or the laundry's right there, like those little things. And so it's to the point where we just sat down and we're like, okay, like we need a break, like let's just see if us spending time apart is gonna like fix things, I guess, in a way where it's not gonna be so much tension. Not in a way, I was like, I seen it as I want to miss you, I want like it
was either gonna make us or break us, for sure.
Yeah, and clearly it made us. We're like, okay, let's situate back together and whatnot. And so we did. Even though during that time though, we literally would still spend all the time together. You still spend like, if we were on a break, I feel like it was mainly for social media, like we're on a break for y'all, but in real life we were still together. Like, it was maybe like 2-3 weeks where we didn't see each other at all, but just talked every day consistently. And then after that we like started seeing each other, started like it was just a break that we both really needed. Just it's really helpful, I feel like, for relationships to do that, just because, you know, you need a break from time from apart, especially like I mentioned, we work together, so it's like, it was like, so that is that. And I feel like with relationships in general, because I know a lot of relationships, they start off, you know, really good, happy, lovey, ooh,
honeymoon
wow,
stage.
and then you get, I feel like there's like stages, 3 stages in a relationship. So there's a happy honeymoon stage, and then the middle stage is like the toxic stage, and then after you get over that toxic stage, it's like the happy, like you're good, you know,
Like this my person, like.
yeah. So I want to jump into that toxic stage, because I feel like that's what really breaks or makes a couple. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that, like, I don't know why, but with retrograde and everything, I feel like just you get tested in a relationship like that. Like, you go through your phase where you're toxic. Like, maybe some toxic is like toxic, but my toxic I'm talking about is just like arguing, like name calling, not like out here making each other look dumb, like not that type of toxic. I'm talking about just arguing and like putting each other through it, I guess, in a way, but like verbally, and just, you know, arguing,
Like literally
and all that.
pushing each other's limits, like.
Yeah, and pushing each other's buttons. I feel like that's the toxic stage, and that is what's gonna either make you guys or break you guys. And a lot of couples do get over that stage, and a lot of couples, you know, they leave in that stage. So I feel like that was the stage we had, and we were like, you know what, like, I don't want to be with anyone else. Like, we would always tell each other, like, at the end of the day, when we would rest our heads at night, I'd be like, as long as we made up, we're good. Like, you know, we know it's just, we need to stop being like that to each other. Like, I would always tell him, I'm like, okay, well, what if I leave? What if we break up? What if, and he would always be like, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. But it's like, it was just, I don't know, like, I guess toxic in a way, as you could say. But once you get over that phase, which we clearly have, it's so good. It's like, you know, you get over that and you're not like, I guess, on that like high school childish mentality, like where, you know, you're just arguing and all that sense or whatever. But once you get over that, then you guys know, like, okay, this is what we want. Well, at least us, we're like, this is what we want, you know, we want each other. Like, we have grown so much, we know communication is the number one thing, trust is the number one thing, and then communication comes second, and then I feel like third would be
understanding each other too. Like,
yeah, because if
just talk to each other and not hear each other out.
Yeah, you need to hear. And with us, we're very like, we're 2 different complete people, and I feel like that's what literally brings us together. Completely because different. What I like, you know, he doesn't like, and what he likes, I don't like, but we like them in real. Like, when he wants to do, like, for instance, play video games and stuff, I'm like, oh my god, that's so boring, but I love you, so I know that's what you like, so I'll sit there and play a few games with you. And then after a time, you know, I do, like, you know, end up liking it and stuff. And where you with me, what would that be?
I feel like going out, probably. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like to go out, but like, you go out too much.
I don't think I go out too much. Like I mentioned, like, I'm 22 and Gabriel is 25, so there's a big.
I'm gonna shoot you right now.
You're 26. Oh my gosh. I'm like, see, it's because I just keep thinking you're 20, because he better turn 26 this year, y'all. So chill. And I'm gonna be 23 this month, actually, like literally in less than a week. So I'm like, oh my god, no, I'm getting old. But that's why I feel like we're like on different. You know, I want to still,
mindsets,
even though
for sure.
I've partied a lot, I still like going out and stuff. I still like, you know, all that. But I do still have like that same mentality as, like, you know, building credit, getting nice cars, getting a home, while getting ready to buy a home, all that. I still have that mentality as well. It's not like I'm like, oh my god, let's just spend all our money on VIP and do this and do that. It is nice once in a while though to, like, you know, get out and not splurge, but, you know, enjoy yourself, because you only live once, and, you know, you work hard towards money and all these things and stuff, and it's like, okay, what if I die tomorrow? Where is all my savings gonna go? Like, I at least want to spend a little bit, live a little, you know, just do a little or whatever. But we're getting off track, because I want to continue talking about, like, toxic relationships and, like, you know, getting over that phase and how to have, like, a long lasting relationship in a way. So back to that, I know there's a lot of relationships that are like, oh, you can't go see your friends, I can't go, like, unless I go with you, and this, that, and the third. So I feel like that is very, like, what is the word? Like, you're like basically keeping him as a prisoner. Like, let's say if me, for instance, I'm like, I feel like I go out more than you. You're more of a homebody. You're like, okay, yeah, just go, whatever.
I love my alone time, so that's like going out with my friends, being alone. Just leave me alone.
Yeah, and with him, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym. He's like, okay, but he's not like, no, don't go, or no. Sometimes he'll be like, oh, just cuddle with me, yada yada. And I'm like, okay. Or I'll go, you know, once in a while with my friends, or go hang out with his cousin, which is my other friend, period. And just, you get me, like, stuff like that. I'll just go and do me, go out, go whatever whatever, he's not like, oh no, I need to go with you, or oh like don't go like in that way. In senses, because I feel like you do need a trusted partner. Your relationship is like your family and all that, but you still need like him. You like going to see your family and stuff. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go see your family.
Day, you're two different people, like, you know. You live your own life. So enjoy what makes you you. Make sure you keep being you know.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people too, they get in relationships, and well, there's 2 points, because I feel like I'm in a relationship, and I feel like a lot of my friends are like, oh, it's because he got a boyfriend, oh, it's because he got a boyfriend. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm always gonna bring him, but it's like, okay, like if I'm going out, like I'm gonna bring my boyfriend, period. Like that's like, he gonna protect me in case someone tries to get out of hand, in case, because there's been times where, you know, like people are like, oh my god, Chris, I'm gonna beat you up, and I'm like, pepper spray, caught assault charge, period, it is what it is. But like I can hold my own, but I just like having my protector there, like being comfortable, being all that, whatever. So I feel like in that sense, yeah. But there are other people who are like, no, I'm not gonna go out, I'm gonna just stay with my boyfriend, like yada yada, and like, yeah. So I feel like I was like that at the beginning, like the honeymoon stage and stuff. Then after I'm like, okay,
and
yeah,
that also kind of drags into the toxic stage too, like, you know.
Yeah, like, oh no, like you're gonna stay with me, we're gonna do this, don't go see your friends. Yeah, like that, because he's never been like, oh, don't go see your friends, or don't, like, I don't think there's one time you're like, don't go. You're like, yeah, go hang out with your friends. There's times too when I'm like in my stages and zones and I'm like depressed, and I'm like, oh my god, the routine I'm doing every day, because sometimes it does get tiring doing the same routine, especially when you work from home. You got to really motivate yourself. I feel like people think it's so easy and this walk in the park working from home, when it's like, no, it's really hard. You're your own boss. You have to literally sit there and constantly tell yourself like, grind, get up, do this, do that, because I could easily slack off. And y'all seeing it, it's been 4 months since I posted on here, like y'all can see how easily it is to just get lost of, you know, on track and all that. And he's like, you know what, go see your friends, go hang out, go spend the day with your friends, go do this, go do that. Like when I'm like off, I'm like, okay, like stressed and stuff like that. So I really do appreciate that, because, you know, that's like, I feel like not a lot of relationships have that and stuff. But like I mentioned, there's like 2 types. There's some where they don't want to go out because they're always with their boyfriend, and there's others where their friends are like, oh, like he's in a relationship, like he cuffed, you know, let's not invite him all the time, let's not, like, you get me, because it's just like a respect thing as well. Because I know me, I wouldn't put any of my friends that are in a relationship in a situation where it's like, you get me, like disrespectful. If I just see everything how I see it. Like if I wouldn't want it to be me or done to me, I wouldn't do it. Like, and that's with friendships, relationships, like all that, just because, you know, that's me.
That's how it should be anywhere.
But a lot of people aren't like that. A lot of people are just like, you know, they support their friends being hoes and doing this and doing that, and it's like, girl, bye, like, come on. Because we do live in Denver, and you were bringing this up the other day, saying that Denver is like the top what?
It's been rated, no, as the worst place to find love.
Something like that, because my brother was doing a video and he was like, whole life or no life, and a lot of people were saying whole life, and I was like, wow.
Whole life or loyal life.
Oh yeah, whole life or loyal life, I'm sorry. Shout out to my brother if you're watching this. And he was doing that, and I was so shook, because a lot of people were saying whole life. And I was just watching it, and I'm like, dang, like, what? Like, I can't relate. There's like a few people who were like, loyal life, but yeah, like I was saying though, I just feel like, yeah, you really need to just be able to connect with your partner, and you'll know if it's there and worth fighting for, or you'll know if it's like dead and given up. And like, you know, it just takes a lot though, I feel like, for people to pull themselves out of that and like leave, because people are so comfortable, or maybe
it definitely needs to be a two-way street too. Like you can't be like the only person trying or trying to fight.
It has to be 50-50. It can't be 90-50 or 40-80. like it cannot, because I mean, I just feel like though, from a lot of like other point of views, like a lot of people don't leave. Like it's different circumstances. Maybe you have kids, maybe you guys are married, maybe like you get me, in those senses, like maybe that comes into like the big picture, and it's hard because you don't want to. But at the end of the day, nothing's hard. I mean, nothing is thrown in your path that you can't like handle and get out of. Like, you know, right. Stuff happens for a reason, and yeah, you just gotta
find your happiness, find your peace. You can't like bring a family in a toxic ass place, like, you know.
Yeah, it can't. Like I can only image, but just all that is like, you know, you have to really just be strong. I know it's more easier said than done, but I mean, I've seen people get out of toxic relationships, or seen people been together for like forever, and then they break up, and then they're in another relationship happier, and then they're like, oh, I found love, I didn't think I was gonna find love, and just all that stuff. So it's just something to think about, like, you know, just remind yourself that and all that, because I know there's a lot of people, you know, who do go through it. Like, we're not saying we're the perfectest couple, because like we just mentioned, we would always fight and argue, like, from the dumbest stuff to, like, and then it would be toxic. Like, I guess everyone's toxic different. I mean, I'm probably saying like, oh, it's toxic, but then my toxic from your toxic is probably like, that's not toxic, but whatever. But I'm gonna just say it's toxic. I mean, because I'm sure there's people who could outdo our toxicness, but it's not a competition. It's just like, you know, it is what it is. That was our toxic stage. But yeah, like, just, you know, fighting, arguing, but then getting over it is always good to talk it out, because communication is key, like he mentioned. And before, I would always just sweep stuff under the rug and stuff, and then he was always like, no, just talk. Don't, like, I would shut down, because I don't know why, like, I would just shut down and just not want to talk. And that's okay too. Like, give your partner space. Like, let's say if we get in an argument or a conflict and I'm like, oh, just Gabriel, give me some time, like, I'm busy, I'm doing this, like, I don't have time to argue. Just get that space. Like, you know, go on a walk, go do something to clear your mind, and then come back. I'm not saying go out there wild out, go cheat, go do this, go splurge and come back freaking a week later. I'm like, Dad, I'm subbing Roscoe. Anyway, because we have a friend, y'all, and he would do that to his wife, and we're like, oh my god, that's so sad. And he'd
like,
come over.
Came back a week later.
I know. He's like, I lost my job. This, I'm like, boy, well, duh. He'd come over like, what y'all doing? I'm like, oh my god, boy, like, I'm gonna call you baby mama. Like, that's so rude. But don't do stuff like that. Like, you know, just keep in mind, I always see it as like, I wouldn't want to do things that I wouldn't want done to me, period. And that's that. But there's not nothing you want to like address or like, you know, advice, like maybe to some young couples, like when we started, and because like I mentioned, it's not all butterflies and roses and rainbows.
Definitely, it's never gonna be just butterflies and roses. Like, yeah, maybe in the beginning, it's always like that, but after that, it's not always gonna be that. Just keep that in mind. Just always know that, yeah, you guys are fighting, you guys are done with each other's shit, like, but always remember, like, it's gonna be like that with any and everybody that comes in your life. Like, at the end of the day, it's gonna be like, I'm gonna do this with this person because I love this person, and this person loves me back, and we understand each other, and we see each other, and like, I don't know what else to say, but yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. Like, it's not always gonna be easy, and everybody's story is different.
Because there's been times where you've packed your bags and you right there an hour later putting it back. Like, I don't do none of that, because I'm like, no, that's extra. If I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna leave. But I really haven't had reasons where I'm like, I'm leaving. Like, no, it's not to that extent, just because I mean, I feel like words do hurt. So you really have to be careful what you say, because I know there's people, and I'm telling y'all, like, I really do want to study and go to school to be like a counselor, or like a couples counselor, couple therapy, just that type of stuff, just because I have I just know this person, shout out to Peggy, who is a counselor, and she always tells me advice, always, like, you know, that stuff. So I'm like, okay, and the stuff she says, it's very interesting, and you know, you can change lives and stuff. So I'm just like, okay, because love is love. Like, who don't want to love, and who don't want to like be successful with their partners and build, and you know, all that type of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff you can learn from that, like the 5 languages of love, and the red flag chart, the circle of life, like the, as in, like, you know, what are red flags and what is this, what is that, like all that type of stuff. You're winning at the end. You guys need to take a break, take a break.
Y'all find out at the end of that break if that's your person or not, and if it's not, move on. Life's long.
Yeah, there's plenty of fish in the sea, just not this fishy, because this fish is mine, period. But also, I'm for everybody. See, we about to start arguing on camera. You didn't say the same for me.
You're my fish.
Okay, down, period.
Mr. Toxic.
Period. I'm toxic. Bye. That's a Pisces in him. If y'all got Pisces in your life, then you know.
We're not all the same. Bye.
True. So, you guys, I hope you guys really enjoyed this podcast episode. I honestly felt really good just sitting here chatting with you guys, and yeah, shout out to my boyfriend for being on this episode. Well, duh, why wouldn't he be here? Because I mean, if we're talking about relationships and how to get over your toxic stages and, you know, all that stuff, why wouldn't he be here? Guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and comment down below if you guys have any people you want me to be on my podcast. That being said, until next podcast, it's a wrap. Thank you. Episode 8 with the Chatty CHRIS podcast. Bye.